just remembered as I was shooting that B-roll there from the car, yeah, I've got a hole in the arse of my trousers, so apologies if I flashed anyone. So hello everybody, and welcome to Kilkee. I don't think I've ever done a vlog from Kilkee before, and I'm down here this evening specifically to speak a bit about drone photography and maybe give you a few tips on shooting with a drone. But before I do that, and before I'm just waiting for the light to get a bit softer there, I want to speak a small bit about social media and photography. So nowadays you have access to basically any image you want because of social media and because of the internet, and that's an absolutely fantastic thing because you have a constant, endless source of inspiration from other photographers, and that's great. The issue lies when you begin using social media to validate your own photography and to validate yourself. And also, I believe that social media is slowly chipping away at creativity in some ways. So what I mean by that is, if you spend a lot of time on, we'll say, Instagram, constantly scrolling, constantly looking at other images, other photographers' work, yes, you'll be getting inspired, but you're also putting their images into your head. So we'll say if you visit that location that they've shot, it's their image that's going to be in your head, so you'll be seeing the landscape through the eyes of that photographer instead of through your own eyes, and naturally a byproduct of that will be that your creativity will be reduced because you mightn't be able to get that image out of your head and you mightn't be able to create something any different. Another issue I have with social media is that when you get a like on social media, or when you get a comment, or when you get a share, you get a dopamine hit. Dopamine is like a hormone in the brain, and it's responsible for your happiness and stuff and things like that. But it's the same dopamine hit that apparently people get when they use a drug, and that's problematic because obviously addiction comes into it, and you've got issues then where people believe that if their image doesn't get a lot of likes or a lot of shares, that it's not a good shot, and it could very well be, but it mightn't align with what social media or what Instagram dictate, what the Instagram audience sees as a good shot. And also you could have someone who might absolutely take a fantastic image and love it, but they know it won't do well on Instagram, so then they won't post it, and that for me is a problem in itself, because if you like the image, if you feel it's a good shot, then you should feel proud to share it, regardless of whether you think it's going to do well or not. I've spoken to so many photographers and they've often made a comment like, oh, it didn't do that well now on Instagram last night, or God, I thought I would get a few more shares. And I say, well, I mean, if you like the image, you like the image, end of story. I mean, if you post a shot on Instagram, let's say, and the reason I'm speaking about this is because this is my experience of it. I 100% hold my hand up and said I was one of those. I probably still am. If you post a shot on Instagram and you keep checking it, maybe 20, 30 minutes, an hour, you keep checking it, see how many likes it's getting. If it's doing very well, it might have 200 likes within an hour. You're on top of the world. If it's not, then you're not doing so well. And you experience real highs when you have a really, really popular image that gets shared on Facebook and features, but then that dies away. Like, that engagement might last for 2 or 3 days and then it's gone. For me, I'm basically, the point I'm trying to make is, don't get caught in this cycle of just churning out images on Instagram like a machine, because you're totally devaluing your shots, absolutely and utterly. And I'm speaking from experience because I've done it. You're just thinking, oh, the next shot. Prime example is when you go out in a shoot and you want to try and capture as many images as possible and you're racing around. Don't do that. Just don't. Capture one, capture maybe 2, be happy with them, leave it at that. and stop using social media to validate your photography. That is the big issue. On the flip side, I have gained some fantastic friends and through Instagram, and created some real good relationships with our photographers and learned so much from it. So it has its positives, but everything in moderation. Okay, that's my little photography rant over about social media. So, drone photography. What can I say? In a nutshell, drone photography is not just about sending the drone up in the air 80 feet, pointing it in the direction and pressing the button. Okay? The same rules apply for taking shots with a drone as they apply for on the ground with your own camera. Light, composition, other elements such as shapes, curves, leading lines, all these things come into it, okay? And on the screen you'll see a couple of drone shots I've taken there, and a lot of them have been by the coast with roads and stuff. And I very rarely take drone photos because I don't really rate the quality of my Mavic Pro. It has a constant f2.2 aperture, so you're not going to get a thoroughly sharp image. Not great in low light. Dynamic range is okay. ISO, yeah, reasonable. But there are times when I've captured a very pleasing drone shot, and a lot of times by the coastline. So I'm going to send the drone up, do a bit of a voiceover, and I'm going to kind of explain what I'm thinking of when I'm shooting with the drone. Okay, so let's get her up in the sky. Okay, so while the drone is hovering away there doing its business, I'll show you the footage that I can see here in front of me, and I'll talk you through a bit of composition. So like I said with drone photography, the same rules apply that you would use when you're shooting on the ground. So think about composition, think about leading lines, think about light. So what I've found is I will shoot a drone shot maybe about an hour before sunset. Actually, that's in 40 minutes to a half an hour before sunset, when the light is soft but the light is still good, because I've found that they're not terribly good in low light. And when I'm by the coast, I'll always look for a road, because a road provides this lovely leading line into the shot, and it just adds to the shot itself. What I'm seeing now is the coastline along Kilkee, looking back towards Loop Head side. And if I just turn it around, so already look at this lovely S-curve we have here in the road, and that provides quite a nice leading line into the image. Now I'm up about 100 meters, which is plenty high enough. The light is still a bit harsh, but basically, as you can see, even if I go a bit higher, that road is giving us a nice leading line into the image. And we've got the light hitting the side of the cliffs. In terms of settings, I would generally leave the drone in auto and see how that goes. Generally it handles it quite well. Now I do blend drone images as well. I use luminosity masks because the dynamic range can suffer sometimes. However, the vast majority of the time, auto is fine. Okay, so let me frame up a composition here. I know the light is harsh, but I'll frame up a shot and we'll see how we go. Okay, so what you're seeing right now is the shot I framed up. I'm actually going to bring it over more to the right, because I don't want to include all that blown out water and sky in my shot. And I want to get more of these fields in, because the light is hitting them quite nice. And those windmills give me a nice focal point in the back of the shot as well. And I've got my lovely road. I love roads and leading lines. So something like so. I don't know if you can see that, but that's my first shot to expose for my foreground, and then I'm going to take another image to expose for my sky and my sea around here. The light is still a bit quite harsh, so it's not really a fantastic image, but I just wanted to illustrate the points I was trying to make in terms of composition. So yeah, a few tips on drone photography for you. I'm gonna go and try and find a composition, and hopefully we'll send the drone up again once the sky gets a bit softer. So I've just pulled in at this. I'm pretty sure there's a name for this like island that's floating out here in the ocean, but I don't know what it is, what the name of it is. But I think it'll make a quite nice shot. Now the only thing is, the shot I have in my head is that there's nothing else in the image, only the island and the ocean. But I can't get myself into a position where I have nothing else in the shot. I could zoom in on it, but I want to try and get the full width of the island in the shot. Now there is rocks below me. I might be able to get down to them if I give a stroll over this way, and that way I'll have nothing else in the image, only the actual island itself. I don't know, is this George's Head or something? I don't know. Someone can tell me. I'm probably wrong, but there's definitely a name to this little flat of land here that I'm going to shoot. Yeah, so I'm going to keep going and try and get the cleanest possible shot I can. Okay, so change of plan. Rather than totally isolate the island, I'm going to introduce some foreground element into my image. So any really pleasing shot you've ever seen, generally it will probably have had an element in the foreground, the middle ground and the background. And I always try excuse me bronchitis. Anyway, if you have a foreground element in the shot, it creates more depth in the image. So there's this group of lovely wildflowers here. Focus. Lovely wildflowers, and I'm gonna put them in the shot, even though they're moving in the wind. I'm gonna shoot them with a fast shutter speed at a high ISO, try and get them sharp. Then I'm gonna take a separate image for my background, focusing on the island, and a separate image then for my sky if I want to blend it afterwards. So I'm gonna have to focus stack, and probably this is gonna take 2 or 3 images. But I think this could be quite nice, something different as opposed to just your standard seascape. Okay, it's kind of like there's these wildflowers growing in this barren, like rocky landscape, and it's like this struggle for like life, I suppose, existence. So yeah, I'm getting all philosophical now. I'm gonna try and frame up this shot and see how we go. Okay, so I'm set up, I'm ready to go. The camera's in position. This is going to be quite a difficult shot to get right because the tripod isn't steady. It's on this kind of spongy grass, it's moving. So even aligning the images in Photoshop afterwards could be tough, but yeah, I got this hazy low cloud on the horizon again, which I don't want, but hopefully we'll get some decent colour in the sky. Yeah, the sun looks really different below that low cloud now, but we'll hope. So the first image I took, I focused on the flowers. I was at f4 and I was at 125th of a second, ISO 64, and that's going to be my foreground shot. That's fine, that's done now. Now I need to focus on the water, the island and the sky. It's still a half an hour till sunset, so I'm going to give it another while before I take those shots, and I'll stack them and blend them afterwards. People say, oh well, that's not really true to the image because you took the shots at different times and different, like, it's not a true depiction of the scene. But the way I see photography is it's an art, and I shoot and I edit, creating an image in mind, depicting how you feel when you're at the scene, and try and depict this magical landscape. So if you're on a coastal shoot and you've got this magic sunset and you've got this glow, and it's just, you're going to want to edit that so that when someone looks at that image, they'll feel the same, or they'll get a sense of what it was like to be there at that time, rather than just document exactly what is happening, because the camera can't pick up exactly what a human eye will see. It's different if you're doing like documentary photography or probably journalism and stuff like that. Like that, you have a duty there to capture the scene and show it as was. But in landscape photography, when it's an art form, I mean, you're the artist, do what you like, and anyone who tells you otherwise is more than likely just jealous that they can't do it. So yeah, do what you like, be bold. So now I've put on a 6-stop filter because I intend on blurring out that water a bit. If I was closer to the shore and to the water, I wouldn't use a longer shutter speed, because as you know, I've spoken about it before, I love showing motion in the water, but when I'm up here, I'm just going to blur it out. And yeah, wait for the colour to come, hopefully. A fantastic evening though on the coastline in Kilkee, and I've often struggled with Kilkee and the cliffs along here because they're very high cliffs. You can't really get down to the shoreline, and I've never found a composition that I really like, but I'm actually quite happy with this one right now, and these flowers are giving the image that extra depth. Another thing is, I'm not sure if I've mentioned it before, but the way you position your camera in terms of tilting it, depending on what's in your subject, in your foreground, will create more depth in the image. So the way I have my camera orientated at the moment is down, it's higher than the flowers, so it's higher than the flowers, tilted downwards, and that makes the flowers seem more imposing and larger than they actually are. So that kind of brings in that foreground element, makes it more imposing in the image, and it creates more depth, and it's just something to keep in mind. So how you tilt your camera, I think I spoke about this before when I was at the base of Cairn 2 shooting the waterfalls. Like if you tilt your camera upwards, it'll lead you up into the image. If you tilt it downwards, it'll make the foreground element appear more imposing, more bigger, and it can create a nice dynamic in the shot. Okay, so what I've done now is I've put a 4-stop on with the 6-stop, so that's giving me 10 stops, and I'm really blurring out everything, blurring the water. There's not much wind, so the clouds aren't really getting blurred, but I wasn't happy with the water really. It's kind of here, it's neither here nor there. So blurring out all that water. I'm at 50-second shutter speed at f5.6, ISO 64. Yeah, those are my settings, and the sun has set, but as always I'm going to give it 15 minutes and see if there's anything happen. And for my final image for the sky, I'm shooting a 30-second exposure at f8, and I'm going to combine all those, stack them, edit them. I'm going to edit this shot with a very warm glow in mind, just because I think that was the evening that it was, until obviously the cloud rolled in. So I'm now going to show you the image, and I'm also going to say good luck. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed a bit of drone photography, a few tips there, and yeah, our little chat about social media photography. And remember, I said don't leave that validate your photography, or don't leave social media influence your behaviour. So until the next time, I'll see you again. Good luck.